If he wins the election, you won't be on the show anymore. He'll come looking for me. There'll be things that happen that none of us can imagine. That's what happens in that kind of a dictatorship, which is what he says. Let's believe him. Take him at his word.
All right, folks. So last night, Bill Maher had Robert De Niro on his show, who is probably one of the most Trump deranged actors in all of Hollywood. And that is no small trophy to give someone, considering there are a lot of Trump deranged actors in Hollywood. But when you listen to this segment, you will see exactly what I mean. And Bill Maher himself doesn't really push back, considering he too is completely ridiculously Trump deranged, which sometimes comes off a little stronger on Bill because he otherwise at different points is a little bit rational. You know, he's a little bit anti-woke sometimes, but when you get to the Trump stuff, he just totally loses his head. But I mean, okay, I don't even know how to describe this. Just take a listen to what Robert De Niro has to say about Trump, okay? So reading here, actor Robert De Niro says Donald Trump will come looking for him and will cancel Bill Maher's show if he wins the 2024 election, okay? So this is, and by the way, I don't think this guy is exaggerating in terms of what he actually believes. It's obviously not true, but I think that these people are genuinely so self-deluded that they deep down believe that this is what's going to happen. This is not hyperbolic rhetoric on their part, at least consciously or at least knowingly, right? And here's what he says. He says, if he wins the election, you won't be on the show anymore. He'll come looking for me. There'll be things that'll happen that none of us can imagine. That's what happens in that kind of dictatorship, which is what he says. It's just so ridiculous, okay? Take a listen. This is them melting down over Donald Trump.
Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him. And we have to, and whoever the people are who want to vote for him, and there look like intelligent people around there, somebody, for some reason, it can't be. It cannot be. If he wins the election, you won't be on the show anymore. He'll come looking for me. There'll be things that happen that none of us can imagine. That's what happens in that kind of a dictatorship, which is what he says.
I don't even know what to say. I really don't. Okay? And he made me laugh so hard at that I coughed. It's just totally and utterly ridiculous. All right, let's listen to the rest of this.
Let's believe him. Take him at his word.
I did from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, I said from the very beginning, this guy is never going to concede power, and he still hasn't.
No.
He still hasn't. He just admitted he lost the last election, and he advertises that he will go on. He says he's been cheated out of one term, so maybe we should get rid of a president only gets 2 terms thing.
Nothing at all.
These people just have mental issues. I mean, that's all it is. They are totally and utterly delusional. Hey, remember when you guys said all of those things about Trump in 2016 and then CNN didn't get shut down and Bill Maher didn't get shut down? But, you know, it is what it is. And you would think Bill, as a occasionally rational person, would listen to that and say, well, look, I don't like Trump as much as you, but that's a little bit ridiculous, right? No pushback. Okay. And people sit down and watch this show and feel like it's intellectual or something. I mean, I won't lie. I watch it because I find it entertaining, but to pretend like this is particularly insightful advice or analysis on anything is just completely ridiculous. With that said, let's listen to Robert De Niro now have a meltdown when Bill mildly confronts him on the question of, well, why is Donald Trump winning in the polls? Because when you take a look at the polling, at the data, including basically just some of the hard objective keys that are going on in our country that usually suggest that an incumbent is going to lose, Robert De Niro responds by melting down. He actually responds here, quote, I don't know. I just don't want to feel bad like I did when he was elected. Yeah, you don't want to feel bad. Is that what this is really about? Actually, it is. This is the caricature of what we paint liberals as, which is like, Donald Trump hurts my feelings. Donald Trump doesn't make me feel good. Okay, let's listen to him actually say that out loud.
So why is Trump winning? I mean, the New York Times poll this week came out, and maybe this will change it with the State of the Union address, but Trump was beating him rather soundly. It was quite a warning light, 48 to 43, also winning way more among women than he had before, winning outright Latinos. What do you attribute that to?
It's almost like you two stuck up ivory tower Hollywood liberals don't understand this country as well as you claim you do or you think you do. Okay? Because I think the reasons for those things are pretty obvious. Why are more women now on board with Trump, according to his data, than they were before? Well, let's just think about that logically for a second. Yeah, his personality was abrasive, blah, blah, blah. Some suburban women were turned off by it. You know, he's a womanizer in his past life, all that stuff. Fine. But they look at the country now under Joe Biden. They see that they are not safe on the streets of their cities. Their kids are not safe. You know, nothing is affordable. All that different. Yeah, I wonder why. Why are Hispanic citizen voters pissed about Joe Biden? Well, turns out actually, in general, legal Hispanic citizens don't tend to like mass immigration and illegal immigration either, right? Because that affects their communities a whole lot. You know, in fact, when they move into those neighborhoods, hey, now everything's overrun. Now the job market's more competitive. Now there's all these issues, you know? Again, this actually makes a whole lot of sense. You just think about it logically. Even if you disagree, you can see the reasons why this is happening. Okay? Obviously, when America has a huge crime problem, a huge inflation, an economic problem, disasters overseas, disasters domestically, obviously people are going to be drawn to the other candidate. But they don't get that. Okay? This is why when you listen to Bill Maher talk about other things, he will say, oh, everything in the country is fine. You know? Remember when he was on that podcast with Jillian Michaels and he was like, yeah, but do any of Gavin Newsom's policies really affect you? And Jillian responded saying, yeah, my house got broken into and by a guy who was released by Gavin Newsom specifically. My house burned down because of the PG&E fire. And you remember that podcast where Bill was completely stunned? You can go back and watch the video on it if you don't believe me. Bill was like, wait, what? Wow. These things affect real people? Why do you think Bill constantly claims that Biden's economy is good? Because he doesn't feel inflation. Okay? He's rich enough, he doesn't even look at the price tag of things when he buys them. And I'm sure the value of his home has massively shot up in value, which I'm sure he's happy about, right? So this is what it's really about. Okay, with that said, let's listen to Robert De Niro respond to the question of why is Trump winning? Something that neither of these people are capable of understanding because they're incapable of looking outside their own little bubble. Here you go.
No, I just don't want to feel the way I did, and many of us don't, after the election in 2016, where we couldn't believe that it happened. The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him.
So
these people are so dramatic, but I guess it makes sense. That's their job to be dramatic, right? They basically are overgrown drama kids. Is that not what it kind of means to be an actor? But still, it's just so hilarious and ridiculous to listen to. There is nothing redeemable about him. He just makes me hurt so bad. Blah, 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 blah. Like, okay. I don't think you can reason with someone like that. I don't think you can ever change Robert De Niro's mind about Trump. So let's just hope come November we do pull this off. We potentially, if necessary, change the minds of people who can have their minds changed. And then just sit back and laugh at these people when they have their complete meltdown. Because let me say, if Trump wins in November, which I will acknowledge, I think is going to be a lot harder of an election than maybe some people are making it out to be, okay? We should not take anything for granted here. However, if and when it does happen, man, this is going to be 2016 all over again. And arguably, maybe that's part of why it's looking like it's going to be 2016 all over again, is because these people, you know, Trump hasn't been as much in the news cycle the past couple of years, but now it's the election. Now he's the nominee. Presumptively, it's back. Okay? It's back. The same type of deranged, insane, ridiculous rhetoric that we used to hear about Trump, we're now hearing it again, which maybe is a sign. Maybe it's a sign that his return is inevitable, and we will be making the 2024 election meltdown compilations that we did in 2016. And Robert De Niro, Bill Maher, Van Jones, all of these people are going to be on the top of that list. With that said, folks, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. I don't even really have much else to say. Okay, it's just so ridiculous. It's basically just like drama kids having a struggle session on the TV show. I mean, that's all we're basically watching here. So, yeah, let me know. And until next time, Alpha Moves only. God bless. Have a very great rest of your night and peace.